Hello everyone, how is it going? In the recent times, we've heard this piece of advice a lot. Love yourself. And that's true, that's relevant, but the fact that this piece of advice has been repeated so much makes it sound cheesy and cliche sometimes. But that is not true. Let me tell you that. Learning to love oneself is a really great thing. It is one of the best things we could possibly do for ourselves. But this whole concept of learning to love oneself is easier said than done. The thing is, when you're in that deep negative zone, or when you're in that zone of self-sabotaging, or when you are in that hate relationship with yourself, it can be a really complex psychological state, and it's not that easy to get out of it and learn to love oneself. But it's all about us to find new things that could possibly help us learn to love ourselves. I'm going to be sharing one such idea in this video, so let's get into the video. Let me not waste much of your time. Well, what is this idea that I wish to share? It's stopping to do things that we do to impress other people. Now, this might sound really repetitive or cliche to a lot of people, but it is true. It is one of the best things we could do to learn to love ourselves. Why am I saying this? Let me explain this. So, whenever we do something just to impress others, it is obvious that we don't have a natural inclination towards that thing. We don't have a natural inclination towards that thing, but we are still doing it just for the sake of impressing others. Now, it is obvious that if we do such things, that is obviously gonna make us feel not so good, and that is what is spoiling our self-love or our love for ourselves. A great example for this would be if you're someone who really doesn't believe in buying expensive clothes but still does that just to impress your peer group. That's a wrong thing. That is what you're doing to impress other people, and that is what we should be stopping just to help us love ourselves more. When we stop doing all these things that we don't have inclination towards, we'll automatically start feeling good about ourselves. And on top of that, in our heads, we won't even feel the fact that we are a people pleaser, just trying things to please other people. So that is one thing we should be stopping altogether. Now, just as an extension to this, I would also say, once you're done stopping to just impress people and doing things just for the sake of impressing people, now we should focus on doing things just to impress ourselves. Basically, we should learn to do things that we really like, that we really strive for, or things that match our principles or our true character. What are some of the ways to do that? Well, I've made a video previously on that where I covered an idea from Jay Shetty's new book, Think Like a Monk. That's a really good one. Go check that out. That would be really helpful for you. I'll just briefly describe that idea. Well, that idea was all about spending time in isolation and in silence and reflecting on one's actions and thoughts, and really trying to identify what is the source of that thought. For example, just a simple example, if you're spending time in reflection and in silence trying to observe your thoughts, and if you have a thought of, say, like in this example, buying expensive clothes, according to that idea, you should try to identify the source of that thought. What is the source of that thought? Is it for yourself, or is it to try to please other people? This way, if we can segregate our thoughts, and if we can really understand our true principles and what is it that we really want, our values, then we could definitely start following them. And the same logic applies here. If we do something that we are inclined towards, if we do something that we are instinctively inclined towards, naturally inclined towards, then it is obvious that we'll be starting to do things that we really love. And when we start doing that, we will start to love ourselves in the process. This is the simplest idea that could potentially help us love ourselves even more. It will help us practice this concept of self-love, which is one of the best things we could possibly do for ourselves. Other than following this idea from Jay Shetty's book, what else could we do? We could do other things like learning from people we really look up to. For example, if there's someone you really look up to, maybe a businessman or a sports star or someone like that, that's all up to you, even a family member. You could try to analyze why is it that you really like that person. If suppose you like Mr. ABC or Mrs. ABC, for something he or she does, try to analyze what is it that makes you like him or her. Maybe it's the fact that he or she is really kind to people and is really generous and is really compassionate. Now once you understand that, you could go ahead and try to implement the same thing in your life. If you like someone because they're compassionate and they're generous, try to be compassionate and generous around people you know. Doing that will make you feel like that person you're looking up to, and that will definitely make you increase your own self-worth, and that will make you feel self-love for yourself. So that was the simplest idea that I wish to share for this video. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you found some real value out of this one, because if you did, please don't forget to share it with your friends and spread this idea. So that was it for this video. I hope to see you soon. Until then, take care and let's start loving ourselves, because again, I've said this a lot of times, but it is the best thing we could do for ourselves.